Hello. This podcast is not for kids. As you could tell by the intro music, this is a podcast in which four friends get together and we try to amaze each other with astounding facts about the universe and also how we discovered those facts about the universe.
I didn't know you considered me a friend.
Oh, of course. What?
You've never called me a friend before. It's only when I'm on this podcast that you describe me as a friend.
Well, it's weird to say that to your friends. Hello, I just wanted you to know that you are my friends.
Okay, good.
You are all my friends. Enough. We are astounding each other enough that somebody will say,
"Holy fucking science!"
Alyssa, you rolled your eyes during that. Oh, you didn't quite, but you almost did.
Sorry.
Today we are joined by Alyssa.
She
Lerner.
doesn't like cursing. Jack doesn't even write cursive.
Oh, is that why? Yeah, you don't have to curse. It's not a requirement. You don't even write in cursive. Was that a dad joke that happened over here and I totally glossed over it?
There's no science couch. There's a dad couch now.
Oh, dad couch.
Oh man, that happened quickly.
All right. Well, we've made the division. We will be representing dads on this couch, and on the other couch we have Alyssa. Hello.
Hello.
First time on the podcast.
Yes.
You are and have been a writer and editor for SciShow for a long, long time now. Years.
A long time. It is multiple years.
Yeah.
Like 2.5 of them.
I mean, there are animals who live for like 30 days.
That's true.
So
many lifetimes you've worked here.
Many fly lives. I don't know how long flies live. I think it's about 30 days. It might be longer than that. And thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
How do you feel?
That's a very loaded question.
How do you feel about doing this?
Also a very loaded question.
You can be honest. Are you nervous?
Yes.
Okay. You're allowed to be nervous.
Thanks.
I'll tell you what, I'm not. It's gotten pretty normal to me. But thank you. And we also have Ceri.
Yep.
Also SciShow editorial team.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's also gotten pretty normal to me to be doing this.
You're a regular.
It's very fun.
You even hosted once.
I was Hank once.
Yeah.
It was high pressure.
Am I the host?
Yeah.
I guess I do talk more than most people.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe that was just sort of my personality, though.
I think you guide
my overbearing
along.
personality. Yeah, it is good to have a bit of a guider.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
And we've also got Blake Di Pastino.
Hi, I'm editor-in-chief of SciShow.
So these people's boss.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm your boss. So you two just can't. You got to be careful what you say because all your bosses are here.
Yeah.
I've stopped being careful. I think I was careful at first, and now.
Just fuck it.
Well, now we know
verbal
that
It is a
vomit.
dad couch, not the boss couch.
Yeah. So now we know that you don't ever go to the doctor. This was a pre-podcast discussion, and also very rarely eat food.
Yep.
I am concerned about Ceri and your life choices, but we'll talk about that afterwards.
Blame it on poor management practices.
It's your fault.
Yep.
The topic of the day is bizarre and terrible and wrong medical practices of the past.
There are so many.
There are so many.
It was fun to research.
It was very hard to pick.
It was hard to find one we haven't written about, too.
Yeah, that is also true. Though the more I looked, I was like, wow, whoa, hey, oh, wow. I hadn't. But in order to decide who's going to go first, I decided that we would start with the person who had least recently had a medical procedure of some kind. My last colonoscopy was about a year ago. I did have an X-ray for my ankle pain. Does that count? Is an X-ray a procedure?
I think that there has to be some kind of, has to be invasive.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there were X-rays in there. They invaded me. They went right through my flesh.
Well, by that measure, my last invasive procedure was going through the airport on the way to
That's
Missoula.
true. That also went through you. It mostly bounces off
That's
your
true.
flesh.
Millimeter
Yeah.
ray is not. Well, I went through a metal detector actually.
That's going through everything. But so is like the radio waves in the room right now.
Yeah, this is getting a little too complicated.
Blowing my mind.
Oh yeah, totally. So colonoscopy or X-ray? I mean, the X-ray cost enough to be a procedure. And at the end of it, they were like, it doesn't look like there's anything wrong. And I'm like, well, it hurts a lot. And they're like, here's some pills.
That'll be $100.
Yeah. Oh, no. I wish.
Oh.
Okay, so my colonoscopy was about a year ago. Maybe like 10 months.
Anyone who knows me knows around the office, I broke my leg in 3 places in a climbing gym in 2013.
Yep.
And I was out of the office for 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's like an Oscar for writing about chemistry while on Dilaudid, I should get that award.
What's Dilaudid?
That was the painkiller I was on.
Oh, okay.
Feeling no pain and
So-
writing about chemistry.
So feeling nothing at all.
Yeah. I'm sure this makes sense to someone.
My
Well,
college
I mean, that
career.
series turned out very well.
Your college career was
very
on
good
Dilaudid?
job.
Feeling nothing.
That was 2013,
writing
and I haven't had
science.
any, knock wood.
Haven't had anything since?
Yeah.
Good for you guys.
Well, I had my wisdom teeth out like 2 months ago.
Oh,
So-
okay. That's pretty much a surgery.
It was a surgery. I was awake for it, though. The dentist did not
Oh.
want to do all 4 while I was awake, but I made him do it anyway.
Why did you opt?
Just for like science?
Because I didn't want to have to go back twice, and I didn't care that he was slicing me open.
Right.
Yeah.
I woke up. I had general for my wisdom teeth, and I woke up. I often wake. I have to tell the doctors now that I wake up under general because it has happened every time I've ever had general
Really?
anesthesia. Yeah.
Wow.
Except for the last time, because I said it for my last colonoscopy. I was like, I usually wake up, and I don't know what they did, but I didn't wake up. But my first colonoscopy, I woke up in the middle, and I was like, "Hey, everybody, what's going on?" And they were like, "They're not supposed to be up right now." And I was like, "Well, my butt feels weird though." I really like the medication they give me to make me go to sleep from my colonoscopies, so much so that I'm like, it's kind of worth it. It's kind of worth like the whole like 3-day terrible experience to have that 10 seconds of like beautiful propofol euphoria. So
I'll take your word for it.
just don't let me become a recreational drug user, you guys.
Okay, duly noted.
Ready.
Thanks.
So, do you dream when you're under general anesthesia? Do you personally?
I mean, the first time I came out and I told my parents, because I was a kid then, I told my parents that I had seen it happen. And my mom is pretty woo-woo about stuff. And she thought that I had like floated out of my body and observed it from the top of the room. And like to this day maintains that I told her that I watched from above my surgery where they reattached a tendon in my hand. And
Wow.
but I think that was a dream. But I don't usually. No, not since then. I woke up during my wisdom teeth surgery, and there was like, and I like laughed at the doctors, and they were like, "Oh, what?" I just started
You're bad at
laughing, and
your
like,
job.
because I saw
Just heckling the
my
dentist.
like blood like go out and hit the like face
Oh
mask.
yeah, that happens
Yeah.
a lot. There's crunching and
Yeah, yeah.
slicing and like it's
Right, and
intense.
I saw like the blood splatter, and my reaction to that was to laugh at them.
Seems logical.
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, nope, somebody push the button that puts him back to sleep."
Wait, so Alyssa, can I ask why you opted to not be put under?
At all.
Just
Did you live stream it?
no, but that would have been really fun. I bet. No, I just like I didn't want to go through the whole process of having general anesthesia and like recovering from it when I didn't think
Yeah.
I would need it.
I mean, yeah, the general. I remember it, like it just like eats a whole day of your life for sure,
Yeah.
or more.
I had work.
She worked. Like, she didn't even take the day off.
No,
Oh
I
my
did.
God.
I did take the day off. I was just around.
I
in the
remember
morning.
talking to you that
Yeah.
day. You're like,
I texted you.
I took the
texted
day
or
off.
called,
I
I'm like-
still worked, but I took the day off. That's my team, you guys.
Yeah.
I try to not have them
That
be
is
this
essentially
way.
what
high as a kite, but I work.
Ceri, last medical procedure.
It was probably also my wisdom teeth, but that was senior year of high school. So
like a year ago?
2011, 2012,
Okay.
2012 probably.
Okay. So you are first then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was
So Ceri, Alyssa, Blake, me. No, Ceri,
Ceri, Blake.
Blake, me, Alyssa.
yeah.
I don't know why I did that.
I don't know.
I blame our sponsor, Big Sky Brewing, who provided us with this beautiful Moose Drool Brown Ale that I'm drinking and is making me less capable of
Thank
knowing
you
what the
for
fuck is
this
going on.
incoherent broadcast, Big Sky Brewing.
But more giggles.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about this. In the mid 1700s to 1800s, countries across Europe felt like they had to have a greater responsibility, a national responsibility for health and welfare. setting the stage. And so they created these organizations called Societies for the Recovery of Drowned Persons. And they were humane societies dedicated to saving people who were like half drowned for some reason. I don't know why.
How many of those were there?
I don't know. But apparently there were enough for people to worry about saving
Also,
them.
can you explain to me what a half drowned?
That's what I was
about to.
my
Yep,
first question.
me too.
I think it's people who were drowned and on the brink of death, but weren't completely lifeless.
So they were out of the water?
So they were
just
drowning and then pulled out of the water.
Okay.
And nowadays you would give them CPR
Okay.
to like.
Okay. But
But
so
it sounds
not
like it's,
people who like had half drowned and then had problems because of that later. Just in the moment they had half drowned.
In the moment they were drowning,
You
their
wanted
lungs
to
were
preserve
filling with
them.
water.
I see. I thought
They
it was
had
like a
ceased
support
to
group
breathe.
and they get their own telethon. And,
So all these half-drowned people with their telephone lines and bodies were, in England specifically, all along the Thames, there were resuscitation kits all along the river with special equipment inside that these societies set out, much like you'd have defibrillators around airports or things like that, to save these drowning people.
They're just hanging out in the Thames for some
Yeah,
reason.
how often do people fall in the Thames?
I don't know.
I guess they had more boats then.
I think they had more boats.
Yeah. When I
They
was
were
in
just-
Amsterdam, it was like, so how many people you fish out of the canal every year? And they're like, not an insignificant number.
I feel like humans are just very clumsy.
Well, yeah, what they say is like 90% of them have their zippers down, and I was like, what does that? Why? What does? And they're peeing in the canal and they fall in.
Oh.
They tip.
Don't do that.
But it probably smells better than peeing on the street, though.
Yeah, but apparently you should pee in a bathroom because it's deadly.
Sometimes there's nothing available, and you got to make do. And then what do?
Apparently you die
I
frequently.
guess so.
Or you get a special kit and people run to
Sure.
save you.
Yep.
And so before mouth-to-mouth CPR, their goal was to warm up the bodies and stimulate breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And does anyone have a guess at what was in those little kits?
warm up the bodies and stimulate breathing.
Dogs.
No.
This feels like a quiz show.
Yeah.
Fireplace bellows.
You're very close.
Ooh, a fireplace, but like Miracle Max.
You just stick it in the mouth and
Not the mouth.
Wait,
They used tobacco smoke enemas to revive people.
I mean,
were
it is a
drowning.
stimulant.
That was the
Yeah.
logic behind it. To us, blowing through the mouth and CPR makes sense.
Yeah.
But to them, either end, butt or mouth, was basically the same. And so they would burn tobacco, have bellows and tubing, and stick it up the butt, and then blow it inside and try to warm up the body
Wow.
and also get them breathing again.
So they were
So-
literally blowing smoke up their ass.
Yes.
I was going to ask, there's a sort of William Sapphire etymology of some expression
Right.
anecdote in here about that's where it came from. Blowing smoke up your ass,
I tried to look into that. I don't know if this is where the expression came
which is
from.
weird. A
Yeah.
weird turn of phrase. Who
But
would do that? But apparently these people
They
would.
literally blew smoke up your asses.
So they're like, quick, light a cigarette and stick it up this guy's butt.
Yeah, and one of the original anecdotes of this occurring that I think was documented in writing was in 1746. A man pulled his wife from the water, apparently in England, she seemed to be dead, and some sailor offered his pipe where he was smoking tobacco and was like, "Hey, stick the stem in her rectum and then blow on the little the cup part. I don't know what it's called, the bowl of the pipe."
I just want to do a quick clarification of terminology here. The rectum is in there. So I
Yeah.
guess you are getting it, but you would be just sticking it into the anus.
in the anus.
Yeah.
Okay. Sticking in the
Because
anus.
sticking it in the
towards-
rectum is put
way-
the whole pipe all the way in and close up on the other side.
Okay. Well, probably
That's not the
sticking
part
in
of the
pretty
anecdote
deep.
I have a problem with. It's more like a sailor comes up and says,
Hey!
Stick my pipe up her butt
Yep.
and then blow. And she recovered. And so from there, people were like, tobacco is this panacea
That's the
of
thing.
medicine.
That's it takes one story. I'd so frequently people will be like, I had this thing wrong with me, and then I did this, and then I got better. And I was like, sometimes there's something wrong with you and you do nothing and you get better. Like that's what happens.
yeah.
with 99% of illness. Like, you get sick and then you get better. The fact that you did something in between those two steps doesn't mean that that is the thing that got you better.
Correlation or causation, am I right?
Yeah.
Welcome to science. And then for years, they just blow tobacco smoke into dead people.
Yep. And then they started, after they used it to save people from drowning, they had all these kits with like bellows and tubes. They started doing it for a bunch of other things too, like headaches or respiratory failure or cramps or cholera. They were just like, let's blow tobacco smoke up your butt and make you feel better.
I can see the logic for cholera, kind of.
Wait, go ahead and tell me the logic you see, Alyssa.
I mean, doesn't cholera involve like lots of digestive issues?
Yes, it does.
So
it makes you
maybe-
shit a lot.
Yeah. So maybe.
Like, at least you're operating in the right part of the body.
Yeah. There's some
Drowning.
logic there.
Like,
But
doesn't it seem
drowning.
intuitive that drowning is water in the lungs? So why would you start in the butt and try to get
I don't know. Like,
To wake them up, right? You said.
I think
To-
for them, I don't know how their understanding of the respiratory system, but
yeah.
I assume they thought humans are donuts, and if you have a tube, it's going to go up to your lungs.
Yeah, it's all
somehow.
connected.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's
Just
not,
to be clear, it's
but-
not.
How long did this practice continue?
Until around 1811, I think.
Huh.
There's a scientist named Ben Brody who discovered through animal experimentation that nicotine is damaging to your circulatory system and your heart.
no way.
Yeah, surprise.
Just the nicotine, not even the smoke, so I can't vape even.
Mm-hmm.
Can I vape up my ass, though? Is the question.
There's probably videos of people doing
I bet
it.
there's a community.
There's a
Gonna
community.
Google it. Vaping out the ass.
Ass vaping.
The first person to ever vape out of their ass
no.
YouTube.
Oh, out of? As
Out of
opposed
their
to-
subscribe for more farps. Oh no.
What? Do they like suck it in and then
Wait for
Fart it out?
Nope,
That
did
looked
nothing.
like they
Nope.
were vaping into his
He
ass,
just blew vape smoke into that dude's ass. That's all that happened.
Oh.
which is
they
kind
were-
of what you're talking about. I hope he wasn't drowning. Oh my god.
He looks okay. I think we're done with that particular Google train. I apologize, Sarah.
Don't apologize. I brought up butts and smoke, so you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Go.
we're gonna go a lot of places today.
That's all I have to say. Tobacco, don't.
I mean,
use bellows
You get
in
an
your
HFS
butt.
for me for that one.
Absolutely.
Blake.
I mean, so they used to literally blow smoke up people's ass, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's where the phrase came from. And in this,
That's what I want to know.
I'm looking at this website and it's like, this is where the phrase came from, and I'm like, it seems like you're just making that up. But apparently, one of these kits cost about $750.
Why?
So somebody made a bunch of money off this.
What was
You know,
in it that
they
was so
handcrafted
expensive?
these cases, and they had
Yeah.
to put a bellows in
It's
there.
like bellows.
All
they
this-
used
Bellows
tubes.
for
There's
other
bellows. Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think before they used bellows, they just like had a modified version, just like tube to mouth to
Right.
anus.
Yeah, never go ass to mouth.
Yeah. I did read something about how part of the danger of this was not just because it didn't work, but like
Blake's like
Yes, everybody, okay.
needs to recover a little bit.
like people would like suck instead of blow sometimes, and they would like get a bunch of bacteria in their
Sure,
mouth.
yeah, you don't
From-
like. Yep,
Yep.
that is a.
And so then they would get like they would die from trying to revive someone with a tobacco
Wait,
smoke enema
really?
because they would like
Yeah, I have questions.
Yeah,
get-
that's. I mean,
If that was like deadly, then more people would have that problem.
I think
For
no,
other
not
reasons.
from the tobacco smoke itself. I think from like everyone was just very contaminated with bacteria, and
So
so,
it was-
There would still be
sucking
more.
up.
but like if I mean, it's one thing to go ass to digestive system. It's another thing to go ass to respiratory system. Like if you suck in like into your lungs those
That's fair.
bacteria, yeah, that might be very different from getting them into your digestive tract.
Yeah, because the
Fair enough.
symptoms that they got were cough related.
Yeah.
like respiratory illnesses.
Don't vape poop.
Yeah. Don't Google that either. I feel like that's worse than ass vaping.
Yes. Just do yourself
Like
a favor.
literally.
Don't vape poop may be my best sentence of all time.
Isn't there a Tumblr that like quotes you?
There is hankering out of context.
Yes, don't go ass to mouth. So what I learned also has to do with Europe, and actually it's the same time frame, and I was afraid you're going to steal my idea, but it's a lot more broad. It's just like this general thing that I didn't know existed. And it goes a little like this.
Okay.
In Western Europe, mainly in the 1500s and 1600s, human flesh was widely consumed and bought and sold as a commodity for its medicinal properties. It was sometimes called corpse medicine or medicinal cannibalism.
Mm-hmm.
And it was based on ingesting human blood, bone, and mummified remains to cure a variety of ailments. And the thing is that it seemed to be not very ailment specific.
Well, that's the snake oil thing. Is
Right.
that like, it does everything. It'll fix everything. And it's like, that's interesting that it does everything. It's almost as if you're just trying to sell more of this product.
Well, there was, one prescription, if you can call it that I found from 1669 in England. It was a preparation that called for a burned human skull, the fresher the better, crushed to a powder, and then served with nutmeg and white wine. And you were to take it if you were sick.
Good.
If you had sickness.
Yeah.
I've come down to the case of
skull.
sick. Yeah. Can somebody please boil a human skull for me?
Drinking blood was widely practiced. I don't know if that's cannibalism per se. Isn't that like, what's that called?
Drinking human blood?
Is that cannibalism?
Probably. I think people eat animal blood, but I don't know if human
yeah.
blood would be.
I feel like
Cannibalism.
drinking human blood is cannibalism,
so
but I'm
too.
gonna
So
ask.
vampires are cannibals?
Is drinking human blood dangerous? Yes. A sin? It's interesting that you would autocomplete to that.
Yeah.
Some people will engage in self-cannibalism as an extreme form of... I'm going to stop right there. Sucking blood from wounds is... Well, that's true, because I've drank my own blood.
Mm-hmm.
Is not generally considered cannibalism.
But other people's blood.
Yeah.
Or maybe you are self-cannibal.
Maybe I am. Well, I mean, I eat my own cells all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. So
And
we're
then
all
I do
self-cannibals.
digest those cells.
Where's the line between cannibalism and like digesting your own cells?
Yeah, and just like I bit my tongue.
I think it's when you start drinking your friend's blood. That's cannibalism.
Yeah.
I mean, if you draw a line, that's a useful
That's my
boundary.
line.
You need to know you really need to know where the danger zone is when it comes to cannibalism.
Yeah. It's like, am I or am I not a cannibal? There's a Reddit thread. Is drinking blood considered cannibalism? And the second comment is, only a little. So I think I agree with that comment. I think that they've hit it on the head there.
It's like vaping out of your friend's ass. What's the context? How close are you? You know.
What else
Is
have
it
you
like
shared?
two bros hanging out, vaping,
Yeah.
and drinking each other's blood, or is it like, I'm sick and I need to have some human skull?
Just two bros hanging out.
So the blood thing the blood was more prized based on how vibrant or vigorous a source of it was. So
Sure.
again, the most recently deceased, the better.
So
in Italy and
it's
England,
dead people.
blood
Because
from
blood doesn't
adult-
have to be dead people.
doesn't have to be because it was taken from adolescents sometimes,
Oh, perfect.
and also gladiators in ancient Rome.
Yeah. Yep.
Their blood was taken, and then it was used to treat epilepsy specifically. And then later on,
That doesn't work.
in England, it
Good
was
to know.
used to treat consumption, which I take to mean tuberculosis.
Yeah.
But by far, the most common form of medical cannibalism was mumia, or this is probably what you saw, because this is the
No,
most
I had all of
Googleable.
this. I had like literally all of the things you have mentioned.
So everything I'm saying, you're like, heard it?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, they're like when I'm
I
trying
still
to.
have questions. So like,
Yeah. You keep going. Tell me about
They were
mumia.
ground up, mummified corpses, mainly from northern Africa. So some were actually like Egyptian mummies, and some were naturally mummified bodies from like the Libyan desert. And it was taken as a powder.
It's like rhino horn, except instead of a rhino horn, it's just an old dead person.
Yeah, at least they're not gonna go extinct.
It's true. There's always going to be more dead people.
Yeah.
Until there are no more live
It's
people.
made of people. So go
What
on.
was
Questions.
mummy?
I can't answer.
What
this.
was it for? Why did people grind up mummies?
That
Did
was
they
my question.
Eat it or did they snort it?
Ooh, did they snort the dead
Oh,
people?
that's a good question. I assumed it was ingested. That's mainly what I
assumed
They might
Digestion
not have
too.
known.
Did they
that
put it up their
snorting
asses?
worked.
That's a real question.
Perhaps. So there's one theory about why people continue to do it, because it must have worked for some people for some things
Mm-hmm. Well,
long enough for people to keep doing it. And
sometimes.
when it came to the processed mummies, the ones who were actually mummified actively, like culturally, say in Egypt, one of the ingredients was bitumen or natural asphalt. And so the thinking is that bitumen has properties that can treat topical problems, like disorders of the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And so possibly it's a hydrocarbon.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
sure.
ingest it, but like possibly that has some medicinal properties. And the rest of it is just like cures like. So if,
Yeah, I mean, the thing you got to recognize is like people still all the time take rhino horn, which is just keratin, and they pay out the nose for it. Like, it doesn't really have to have an effect. And people have been taking rhino horn forever.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do anything. So it doesn't necessarily have to.
They're not going to be able to keep taking rhino horn forever.
Yes, eventually we will not have that. There it is. This is what I was looking for. That skull tincture was called the King's Drops.
Oh, I
for a
heard
while.
a reference to the King's Drops. I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
So apparently it's quite expensive, this stuff.
Right,
and
right.
The mumia, especially, because mummies don't grow on trees. So it was...
We're all making the same horrible joke.
Yep.
Like the sort of middle class, upper class, people would, not unlike today, people have access to healthcare if you can afford it.
You can try this out.
What did it taste like?
Good question. Probably like asphalt.
It's the
not the bitumen specifically. The like
just ground up
mummified
mummy.
people.
What does mummy taste like?
I would hate to have your search history.
Hopefully they recognize that I'm saying mummy with 2 M's and a Y.
Oh.
I actually don't know how to spell
in
mummy
England,
the other way.
that's still the same.
That's still the same thing. The first result I got was, what does Canada taste like to you?
Maple syrup.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Like beer, maybe, but maple syrup and ice.
Sorry, Canadians. We know there's more to your country.
And free healthcare.
Yeah. Let's just all have a moment of silence. So, I mean, there's also like a long tradition of like eating dead people's brains to get there to sort of gain their wisdom and knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, it's just sort of like, this makes sense. Like all of your smarts are in there. I'll have that too. It's a bad idea.
I once ate a page of a thesaurus before a spelling bee to try and like get the spelling in my head. I mean, I was like
amazing.
8, but you know.
That's amazing.
Did it work?
Just one page,
I
though?
did win the spelling bee, but I don't think that was why.
She did win the spelling bee, you guys.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it was the thesaurus.
I think in general, it's just the attitude that, like, you will do anything to win this spelling bee, including eat paper. Like,
Yeah.
that's what got you to... So there's a relationship between eating the paper and winning, but it is not connected directly. It's just through your own, like, I'm going to win this spelling bee at whatever cost. Did you hit anybody with a crowbar?
No. I mean, not that day.
Do you remember what page of the thesaurus? What were the words?
No, I don't
What part of the
remember
alphabet?
page.
Do you remember what the word was that you won on?
No.
Do you-
It's been a long time.
Yeah. I mean, for a long time, I remembered the word that I lost on and the spelling bee that I cared about, but I can't remember it now.
Yeah. I can tell you that this thesaurus did not taste good.
Well, no, it's paper.
Well, I've tasted some other kinds of paper, and they taste like kind of gross, but not like terrible. The thesaurus just tasted
Particularly bad?
really bad.
Interesting.
It was like newspaper type paper. Maybe that was why.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Did you hear about that guy who said that if Labour prevents the Tories from getting majority in England, he'll eat his own book?
Mm-hmm.
And then he ate his own book on live TV?
Wow.
I didn't know he actually ate
He
it.
did it. Well, he didn't eat the whole book, but he
ate
did
some
eat
of
it.
it?
He ate a page out of it. And I'm like, I love the UK.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't have to keep his promise.
Yeah, seriously, like
Yeah, we don't do that. We just
Totally.
say shit and then like
100%.
kidding.
Yeah, that was a joke. No big.
Okay, that's all I got.
That's all you got.
Human cannibalism, medicinal cannibalism.
Yeah, man. Well, who knows? You got to try to see if it works. And when I say you gotta, I mean that's what we used to have to do, and now we have science. Thank the Lord. Okay. So you guys know how like if you like make an egg, you want those eggs to not get eaten by stuff. But
You mean if you like produce an egg?
If
If
you
you
like-
you're like hard boiling.
If you lay an egg.
right, if
Or
it is
release an
your egg,
Yeah.
if you like your next generation of your progeny. But like at the same time, you also want to put good stuff in there so your babies can be nice and strong when they hatch. So eggs are great things to eat. We love eating eggs. We do it all the time. Lots of animals eat eggs, and that goes for bug eggs too. There are many species of bugs, and many of them lay eggs. Almost all, but not all. And there is a group of bugs, beetles, and it's sort of a wide variety that produce this toxin that the male will cover the eggs in. He also deposits a little bit into the female when they, like with his sperm, as a sperm present, which is a thing that bugs do. Sometimes they will give sperm presents of like nutrition, so they'll like inseminate the female, but also like along with the sperm comes like high energy compounds, so that the babies have a better life, or the mother can digest that.
That's nice of them.
Yeah,
Better than what some other bugs do.
but yeah, I mean, in general, like it's pretty hardcore out there for bug mating. So these chemicals, it's from the beetles are a wide range of kinds of beetles, but one of them is cantharides, and cantharides gave the toxin its name. It's called cantharidin, and it has a number of very potent physiological effects
On humans.
on humans. And so it was isolated in the 1800s, and so they were like, well, who knows? Like, we're pretty new at pharmaceuticals. We're trying stuff out. So we'll give it to some people. It's bad, but it does have physiological effects that can be medically useful. One of the things it causes is priapism. Do we know what that is?
Yes.
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 I don't
It's
think.
boners. Particularly like medically problematic
Yeah,
boners.
boners won't go away.
Extended edition. Not that wasn't. I don't regret that.
Because it causes this side effect, one of the things that we have always wanted to create medicines for is particularly that thing. Like, this is something we're always looking to cure, and now have lots of medicines that do this effectively to allow men to have sex when their bodies don't want to or aren't able to, or whatever impotence is. And also because of that, it became sort of widely accepted that this stuff was an aphrodisiac, because that's sort of what you called it back then when something gave you a boner. And that it worked on both men and women. And so sometimes people would illicitly give this stuff to women, and indeed, sometimes they still do. It's called Spanish fly. It's inside of the male beetles. So if you give this beetle, which is called a Spanish fly, it's not a fly. If you like ground up these beetles, and like you don't know how much of the stuff is in there, so it's super freaking dangerous to do. And it doesn't actually seem to work at all on women, though if you take enough as a man, you will have this medically problematic hard-on. But it's been used for a long, long time, like since like Roman times, for this specific purpose, to try and like have
Spanish fly.
Yeah. So the Marquis de Sade almost went to prison and was almost put to death for using this. It almost killed 2 prostitutes that he had employed at an orgy. More recently, a guy I think is currently in jail for killing 2 people by sneaking them this drug. But in addition to being used for this extraordinarily dangerous substance, but we really want to get it up, in addition to being used for that medically problematic purpose, it's also so it causes all kinds of things: kidney failure, organ failure. Also, like, it's a blistering agent. So it can, like, on the way down, blister you,
Oh my gosh.
depending on how you take it, and it can create blistering in your digestive tract. It is used intentionally for blistering today for wart removal. So they'll like spray cantharidin on a wart, and it's like no longer suggested. There's lots of better ways to do it, but people still do it in some places. where they'll spray cantharidin on a wart or other blemish to cause the blister that then kills whatever all the skin around it. Yes.
What's the boner causing part of it? Is it like a vasodilator?
I don't know. I couldn't find how, like, that. It doesn't seem that the mechanism of action, except for the blistering, is well understood. The reason that I found this is actually it's the thing that was used on George Washington to blister his throat.
As soon as you started talking about it, I googled SciShow Spanish fly because I wrote that episode and I recognized the words.
Yep.
But I didn't know it had an alternate use.
Yes. So it also, like, when George Washington was sick and dying, one of the things they wanted to do was, like, get his, like, humors in balance, and so they wanted to blister him, and his problem was in his respiratory tract, so they blistered his mouth with cantharidin. The other thing that it was used for, and this is my favorite part, is the inventor of osteopathy said that so what you're thinking, like, okay, so vaccines are just happening. We have smallpox, and if you take a smallpox vaccine, sometimes you get a few blisters, and then you're immune to smallpox and you don't die because you have this, like, live but like sort of toned down version of smallpox. So this guy, inventor of osteopathy, his last name is Still. I can't remember the rest of his name. He thought, well, cantharidins create blisters too. So we'll just blister people with cantharidins, and then they'll be immune to smallpox because then they'll have had blisters.
Oh, no.
He thought vaccines were crazy and wrong and bad. This is an article from 1902, which I just loved. He claims, and he teaches his microcephalic followers, that the cantharidin blister offers immunity from smallpox. He says, there's not a single case on record where smallpox has been contracted after this remedy has been properly applied. Shades of Jenner. Is it possible that for all of these years of the scientific world has followed a fetish where they produced vaccination, and that the loud but little cantharidin blister, that potent little blister, has in it the embodiment of all that there is in immunity. So this guy in 1902 is being like, this guy is insane and bad and needs to stop pretending that he can cure smallpox by giving people blisters. Because why don't we then just, like, poke them with a hot stick or something? There's other ways to get blisters, you guys. I just love that, like, in 1902 people are like, these people are crazy.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like oftentimes you hear, like, we did these really dumb things, but you don't necessarily talk about, like, how maybe there was conversation about how dumb they were at the time. So, yeah. This is a nice little excerpt from a very difficult to read book from 1902 because they say things like, Shades of Jenner. Like, what is that? What's Shades of Jenner?
Someone who really likes Kylie's lip products.
I mean, I just Googled Shades of Jenner and Kylie's Cosmetics is the first thing that came up.
There you go.
I'm very curious about Shades of Jenner.
You can buy, not sponsored.
Well, he's talking about inoculation, right?
Buy them.
I think that it was just,
Jenner. Was the same?
Maybe it was. Maybe it was.
He's trying to use the principle of inoculation, right?
Yeah.
This is
Edward Jenner.
So he's the dude who inoculated his own kid.
Oh, I love reading colloquial writing from like 100 years ago because it's just like, I have no idea. You are referencing so many things that are gone and will be forgotten forever. Like, you have to be a scholar to read these things. So. But I like that he called his followers his microcephalic followers. I do understand that one.
Yep. That's pretty sophisticated burn. Microcephalic. Followers.
It's good. Yeah. I mean, it's smart dude, whoever that was. Anybody have any other questions about cantharidins? Because I don't have that much more information.
I just really want to know what causes the medically problematic boners. I've been thinking about that.
Yeah, I think there's kind of like, it seemed like as I was researching it, people kind of don't want to talk about that aspect of cantharidins because people do still use them recreationally. And it's like, it works. It gives you an erection, but it is so freaking dangerous. Like, you don't really, because when you're taking it anything that you're getting from a biological source, you have no idea what the concentration is. It can change individual to individual, season to season, and you like grind up this thing, and it's like, well, I did 3 bugs last time, and it was fine, so I'll do 3 bugs this time, and then you die.
Why don't they just use safer ways?
I don't know. That's the thing. Like, it's not like Viagra doesn't exist.
Yeah, everyone wants to sell it, according to my email.
Yeah, no, yeah, it seems available.
Yeah.
But I think part of it, and hopefully not a huge part of it, is that Spanish Fly for a long time was like, this is how you get women to want to have sex with you, which is like that seems like maybe not the way to go.
There's not really any way to go where it involves forcing people.
No, that seems like a bad one. That seems like a bad one. Yeah.
So I'm just going to tell you that my topic is called the pee issue, but not the kind of pee that you might be thinking of. It's PEA. So
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. So was I.
But is there pee?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Just the PEA kind of pee.
Okay.
Oh, you'll see.
Like pee, like peas?
Yeah, like the kind of eat.
I thought maybe it was just an acronym.
You might not want to eat peas after this, but anyway.
But I will.
Up until the early-ish 20th century, doctors used to cut people open and then put peas inside the wounds. So, basically...
That sounds legit.
like Mendel's peas?
Yeah.
Did it matter what kind of peas they were? Were they dried peas?
I'm
were
pretty
they
sure.
fresh?
I would imagine that they were dried.
Okay.
You'll see why.
Okay.
So, I don't know for sure, though, if they were dried. So, doctors used to think that giving people open, oozing wounds and then keeping them open for as long as possible would cure basically everything. Like
again,
eye infections, headaches, cancer, stuff like that. So they would leave the wounds open.
But would it help with impotence? Because that's all
I
that
did
matters.
not see anything about that.
Can you just open a wound up on me, Doc? I can no longer satisfy my wife.
I bet they would have done it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they wanted to leave the wounds open from anywhere from a few days to a few months, depending on the problem they were trying to cure. There were a couple of kind of ish logical ideas behind it. Like one was that the pain from the wound would distract from the pain of whatever the original problem was, which it makes sense. Like you scratch and itch for the same reason. That's kind of ish logical. But the other reason doesn't make as much sense.
So you're saying they kept the wounds open?
Yes.
But did they create the wound in the first place, or did you have to wait until you got hit by something?
I'll get there.
Okay.
So they thought
walk down an alley and be like, anybody want to knife me?
You'll see.
Okay.
They didn't really know how it worked, but they thought that somehow just having a wound somewhere else would the body would respond to it and magically cure whatever the first problem was. So there were 2 main ways that they did this. One was what's called a seton, where they would take a flap of skin and pull it up so that they could pierce it through with a needle with a piece of string attached. And then it would they would thread the string through the pocket that they'd created and then get rid of the needle. And then they would just leave it. And over time, every day, they would move the string a little bit so that the wound would stay open and not heal.
So they just lay a needle, like a string threaded through your skin.
Yes, like a pocket. What they wanted a pocket under there. That was the idea.
How much of this? Are there pictures? Do you know how far the string went before it came out?
There are.
Was it just a little bit, like an ear piercing, or
I did see a pretty detailed description of how to do the procedure. I don't remember exactly how. I think it was a few inches, but some methods got more dramatic.
I think Stefan's about to barf.
You all right, Stefan?
I apologize to people with sensitive stomachs.
No.
So
it gets worse.
Pocket,
so
do you mean
ready.
They want the thread to go down and make a loop?
No, as in
tissue?
they wanted the skin to be separated from the rest of the stuff underneath.
Oh, okay.
So there would be a pocket, a little open space there.
I see.
That would be the wound.
And then step 2 is just jam peas in there.
So there was another kind. There was another kind of method that they used for this. Sometimes they didn't want to bother with the needle and thread, so instead they would just slice people open and stick peas inside the wound, just under the flaps of skin. So the people describing this is normally. The way the paper I was reading from I think the 1870s described this was he would put not less than 3 but not more than 4 peas inside.
Because that would be stupid.
That's an awful lot of words.
So 3 to 4
3 or
P's
4.
generally for
Yeah.
most ailments.
Yeah.
And you wanted it if for like eye problems, you wanted it like not too close to the eye. Like generally by the temple area for headache.
Oh wow! So you're walking down the street with a bunch of peas under your skin.
Yeah, so
Not a bunch, just 3
just
to 4.
I mean, what's a bunch of peas?
Yeah.
I think 4
3,
peas
4.
is a lot
But
to
3.
have under your skin.
Well, it gets worse. You'll see.
Oh god. Well,
they
I'm so
put.
glad.
They also. There are some like instructions. I was reading a lot of olden day medical textbooks, but there are some instructions to like try and place it. It was called a pea issue. So this thing, because it would like, I guess ooze. That's why they called it an issue.
Oh, okay. It wasn't just like a something people were dealing with.
No,
Like, it's
it was
the
like
issue of the
officially
day.
called a pea issue.
Okay.
So doctor said to like hide it somewhere that it couldn't be visible because they wanted to keep it open for like months, and then it wouldn't be so pleasant for to walk around with that. So remember how I said it gets worse?
Yep, I do.
One of the ways it gets worse is that in some cases they would use more than 4 Ps. Like, Stefan, you might want to close your ears. Like if someone had a severe head injury, one of the standard ways to treat it was to slice their scalp like all the way through and open 2 flaps of skin and put 70 to 80 Ps inside.
Not
That's
less
more
than
than 4.
70, but not more than 80.
a different scientist who didn't phrase it that way. But yes. Yeah. So 70 Ps inside someone's scalp.
Are you going to answer the question about why peas specifically?
Oh, so yeah, I'm like, I would guess that it was just because they were like small but big enough to like stick under the skin and like readily available. And I would imagine also that they were dried because like you want them to stay in there for a while without like absorbing all the stuff in there and like decomposing. So that would be my guess. I didn't find anything specifically.
So it wasn't
about
any
why.
like property of the plant or anything
No,
that was supposed to be medicinal. It's just like a physical object. Could have been if you had a bunch of rocks that were the same size.
Yeah, I bet they would have used it. I mean, when you look at the way the scientists and doctors of the day described it, they were literally like, we don't know why this works, but it clearly does. Like, we just know that it definitely works. They're very sure about this.
Like eating mummies. Like
Right.
I mean,
But this was like 100 years ago.
we're
Don't
so.
understand.
I mean, who did the? I guess they started out with a string, and they just kept, and they were like, well,
Apparently it's been
peas.
going on for a while.
Right.
Like, this is old. I'm not sure how old, but like at least 1700s.
Okay.
And then it just continued. There is a difference between how the people did it in the 16 and 1700s and early 1800s versus how they treated it later, how they did it later. There was a debate about whether it was better for the wound to go septic or not.
It seems like pretty clear debate.
Well, before like it sounds like the 1850s-ish, they thought it was better for it to be septic. And there are scientists who are straight up like, yeah, the eye infection won't be cured until you see pus like streaming out of the wound. Later on,
Well, I
they
mean,
got
why
better at that.
why not just put like dog shit in there? Like if you like why peas? If the point is to kill this guy, just put smear human feces over his bare skull.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
Yeah. So they did that. They said not to do it to babies.
Good.
It wouldn't work on babies. They don't say why.
I'm glad they
But
didn't
they
do it
said
to
not
any
to do
babies.
that. And yeah.
Because they tried and the baby died, and they were
Yeah,
like, "Wow, that was a bad
I'm
idea."
sure lots of other people died too.
Yeah, but some of them didn't. And the one time they tried on a baby, they were like, "I feel real bad about that."
Yeah.
was there a name for this procedure?
Pea issue.
No, so there's the P issue for the P's one, and then the seton for the needle and thread version.
Seton, Setin.
Seton, but I looked up the pronunciation, and that's how it's pronounced. People still use setons.
Yeah, like Seton Hall.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know. It's Seton Hall.
It's
It's like a basketball thing.
It is still a term that's used in medicine today, but only
It's
because
a university. I just know because they have a basketball team.
Oh. Okay. I don't know anything about basketball. But like setons today are just used like in cases of like wounds that are already really infected, and then doctors don't want to close them up all the way because they'll just like the bacteria will just like stay in there, so they like put a drain tube in to not have that happen. But we don't just like put peas inside people.
But have we tried? Has there been a double-blind peer-reviewed study on peas inside of your scalp?
I didn't find any.
Be hard to do a double-blind now that I say it out loud. Do I or do I not have peas in my scalp? Poke, 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 70 or 80 fucking peas in my scalp. I don't know. I'm not sure. My head was always a little lumpy.
Yeah.
How long did this go on?
So they stopped. The last paper that I was able to find about it was in 1909. So I would guess, I don't know this for sure, but I would guess that as we learned about like how infections actually work and discovered antibiotics and stuff like that, people started to realize that maybe this wasn't a good idea. And like probably around then they also learned how to treat some of these diseases, like, so they didn't need to do this anymore. That's
Yeah, we
that's
had
my
some better
theory.
ways to do it.
Yeah.
We're like, so this person is quote unquote sick. And we gotta do something about it.
Yeah.
Quick, peas.
Yeah. No, that's what they said to do. Like, it could cure everything. Like we keep saying, like anything, you can cure anything if you don't know for sure that it works.
I'm not 100% clear on the logic either about creating a wound that's more painful than the symptom.
Like the idea that it would help the original wound not be
Well, if
not
it's
hurt.
cancer, like sometimes it's a headache, but sometimes it's cancer.
And so creating an open wound
And
would
also,
be really painful.
headaches can
Would
be
like
pretty
what,
bad.
take your mind off the cancer or what?
No, it would cure the cancer.
The pain aspect wasn't the main reason they did this. Like sometimes they did, like if someone had a headache, they would like slice them open, and then supposedly that would like help their headache feel better.
Which is a thing. Like creating pain can help alleviate pain.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because it would pumps up the number of
Oh.
like pain reducing chemicals in your body. That Iceman
Oh yeah.
had like these tattoo spots on different parts of his body. I don't remember which Iceman this was. It was one of the Icemen,
right?
Yeah, Etsy.
Ötzi.
Ötzi. Yeah. So he had on his knee and a few other parts on his body, he had these like grids of tattoo, and people were like, "Those are weird tattoos," but the theory is that those were areas of his body where he had pain, and so they like they do this tattoo, and then like temporarily it feels a little bit better because like the endorphins go to that area. Who are like, there's a pain happening.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'll buy that.
But then it hurts later again. Poor Ötzi. Shot in the back with an arrow because he scored at some village.
Not the knee.
Not the knee. No, that was a tattoo.
Yep.
Who knows? He probably took an arrow in the knee as well.
No evidence of peas inside him, though.
No evidence of peas. But I'm convinced that he got it on with some village daughter and ran away, and that's why he got shot. Because they didn't take his stuff. All his stuff was still there.
Should be a detective.
Ah, interesting.
I want to write a story about it. Ötzi. Hanging out.
Fan fiction about it.
Village to village. It was a good life until it wasn't. His
There you go, you
knee
have the
hurt
title.
though. We knew
I wanna write that movie.
I know like 4 things about this guy,
Yeah.
and that's enough.
Ready.
This shit writes itself.
Just fill in the gaps with whatever you want. That's how stories work.
That's how stories work. I love that. I love
need
that
to
you guys
cite
are
that,
here to tell me what Ötzi's name was. Oh, he is not an attractive man. Now that they've reconstructed his face, it doesn't really seem necessarily like he got it on with anybody.
You don't know what the...
Maybe he was a very sensitive guy.
He does look like Jeff Bridges got punched in the face a lot. And I mean, Jeff Bridges looks like Jeff Bridges got punched in the face a little.
No offense.
Sorry, dude.
If he's watching.
Sorry, Jeff
Love
Bridges.
You don't know what like the beauty standards of the day were. Maybe he was hot.
Sure. Jeff Bridges is an attractive man.
No comment.
Holy fucking science.
Hey, green out of context.
I'll tell you what, as a mummy, he does not look attractive. But that is sort of what happens. I'm glad they didn't grind him up and eat him.
Yeah.
Well, I think we did all of our things. And I think that it's quite late now that I look at the clock. We had a really good time today.
I can't say. Who do you think won? I think it's some on the yellow couch.
You think it's one of them?
Yep.
Yeah, me
was a
too.
Is there a
Contest?
winner?
Yeah, of course. We always have a winner here on Holy. Well, no, when did you make this up?
No, I want to know who had the most holy fuckingest science.
Could leave that to the commenters to figure out.
Yeah,
Right.
it's true.
Yeah, comments. Who had the holiest fucking science? No, wait. The holy
Holiest
fuckingest science.
There you go.
The holiest fucking science is a different thing. Well, anyhow, thank you guys for joining and for bringing such great medical
Fails.
tomfoolery to the podcast. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We're always looking for your thoughts. You can leave comments on YouTube, or you can email us at holyfuckingscience.holyfuckingscience@holyfuckingscience. We don't actually have an email address. I just wanted to fuck with you there for a second. This podcast is who's editing this one? Do you have any idea? We don't know. Well, it's a bit up in flux now that Lou's gone. Sad face. But our sound is engineered by Stefan Chin. Caitlin Hofmeister has been producing, directing, and filming this whole time. Throughout this entire podcast, I have been Hank Green.
Blake Pastino.
You guys say I have been Blake Pastino.
I have been and remain Blake Pastino.
I have been Alyssa Lerner.
I will still be Ceri Riley.
And this has been
Holy fucking science.
I missed it. I'm sorry.